Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
That's enough.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Oh, funny. I just right on cue the fact that it is 1:20 Eastern time and woke up. Wow, there's the hat. I told him to put a hat on.
The draft hat.
And really, I think for once in maybe ever, my hair might look better than yours today.
Mine's still better. So nice try.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Was this episode 73?
73.
First of all, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. I don't think we've seen you guys since that time. This is our first video of 2025. So, can we get a round of applause for another year of Who Are These Guys? So,
I think this is year 3.
Yeah, technically year 3 because I think we started in like 2023.
Yeah, I think it was like the spring of 23. So, 23 to 24. Yeah, we started in 23. I'm pretty sure our first video was somewhere in the spring, like May or something like that.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. 2025 edition. Who Are These Guys? Hopefully we can, obviously we'll continue to put out the content. We'll continue to put out videos. We always appreciate you guys. And we'll hope to, we're over 100 subs. We'll hope to, grow that to 200 and expand from there. Today is January 6th. Big day in the WWE world.
Absolutely, it is.
Big day in the city of Pittsburgh.
Why?
Well,
why is it a big day out here?
Well, and it's been a miserable couple of days since the Steelers have lost their 4th straight game. And we got a big playoff matchup coming. The last time you saw Ed and I, we wore, I think, the 2 beanies of the Ravens and Steelers. Now we have the Ravens. We're not wearing the beanies today. But how you doing out there? I know there's quite the snowstorm coming through.
Yeah, it's something where in this area, Western Pennsylvania, you definitely don't get as much snow here as you do more in the north part of like up in Erie and even like the Buffalo area or Cleveland or different things like that. Obviously you get the snow, but like they get freaking pelted. So it's not like that level where you're getting feet upon feet, but it's still quite a bit. And especially with how the last few years have been, we haven't really gotten too many snows. Or too many Erics.
Too many snows.
Yeah.
Too many Erics. Gotta get him on a video sooner or later. Gotta get him on a video.
It's on him. It's on him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I think he's watching this, so shout out Snow. We love you.
Yep. But this one, it's starting last night, supposed to go really the rest of the day into the evening. So I think we're probably at about, I don't know, maybe 4 inches right now, which honestly is a pretty decent bit. Roads are horrific, so obviously I didn't go into work today.
Well, just obviously kind of looking at the weather advisory here. You can see Pittsburgh in the kind of top right corner.
Yep, right there in that bottom left.
And it's going through it. And quite honestly, I truly hope the snow just goes within your windshield. So,
my car is kind of covered. So,
this picture's from Washington D.C. I mean, this one's kind of nuts, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Was that like the monument right there? That's a pretty crazy photo.
And during like wintertime, like snow can definitely be a pretty sight, and I definitely love snow come Christmas. I think really after we kind of get through like past the New Year and everything, honestly, I'm ready for kind of the cold weather to fizzle out. I do love having the 4 seasons, but it just lingers. Like winters go up until sometimes April.
Yeah.
And it just lingers around too long.
Yeah. Well, and I've always been a snowboarder myself. I mean, but there's a difference between enjoying snowboarding, skiing, sledding, and actually living in a straight up snowstorm. So shout out America. That's actually a pretty cool photo right there.
Yeah, that is. And took the dogs outside, and then Jason started throwing snowballs at me.
It's a winter wonderland, and it's a winter wonderland.
Yeah, I actually threw one at Tyson.
Yeah, but my question is like during those snowstorms, do you pee in the snow?
I have before. At the old house. Yeah. So sometimes I would just take a leak outside.
You just take a leak outside.
Yeah.
Well, Ed said the other day he saw like 4 just deer, just walking out his front door.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And honestly,
there's one that's honestly a freaking tank around here.
Yeah, I mean, would that be classified as like a buck?
He kind of looks like one. He probably tastes good.
It probably tastes good. Probably tastes good. And has never held a gun in his life. He's never.
I've actually held a shotgun and I've held a rifle at Ed's house. I've shot both of them off, but other than that, that's about it.
Just be careful what you say next.
Yeah, be careful what I say. That administration's leaving.
All right. Well, anyways, welcome back, guys. Ends in the middle of a snowstorm. I'm down here in tropical Florida where it's sunny and 75 degrees.
Yeah. I think it definitely has the chance to get up to 8 inches come the end of the night. So it's honestly a pretty good bit. Like I said, the last few years we haven't really gotten too many snows or really even like bad ones. This one's probably the most recent one where it's been pretty heavy.
Right. That's fine. I was trying to find like a here. Does the ones that like walk through your neighborhood, do they look like this? I don't know if this is like a deer, if this is like a reindeer or like a buck. Is that what they look like?
No, not like this guy. This guy, no, they don't have the freaking humongous antlers like that.
Right. You just see this guy right out your front door.
Freaking Milwaukee.
Oh man. Well, stay safe out there. I know those snowstorms can be serious. I mean, obviously,
I'm not driving in it.
Obviously, I don't live in one, but I've been in one. The times of snowboarding up at Pine Top and even up in Flagstaff. There's blizzards that come through there. There are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys. So today is January 6th. You'll be seeing this video either Tuesday or Wednesday, but right in the middle of the week of the NFL playoffs officially being here. It's probably the one fan that is, well, I guess I should say the fan base that is really not looking forward to the playoffs.
No, I have zero level of excitement.
Now I'm going to be careful what I say because
I'm looking forward to just not the Steelers situation.
Well, no, I know we're looking forward to the playoffs in general, but I'm just saying like a fan base of a team that is now in the playoffs. I think you can say every single, especially wild card team specifically, the Commanders, I guess Green Bay, Denver, like all those fan bases, Minnesota, even though they had a disappointing loss, sold 14 wins. I think all their fan bases are proud and they're excited to get in the playoffs no matter what they accomplish from this point forward.
Yeah.
But with N, it's different for many reasons. Maybe N can find the tweet that he sent me the other day of that breakdown of the last 10 years of the Steelers. See if you can try to find that. But, and I'm be careful what I say because they're going against the Ravens, rivals. Anything can happen once we get to the playoffs.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that anything can happen, especially when you're facing a division opponent in a playoff atmosphere. But whatever you want to start with, go ahead. I'll try and find what you were talking about.
Well, I think I was able to. Here we go. I was able to find the bracket. So, just kind of like overlooking this bracket. Just hit me with the best matchup of this week. Not saying the Ravens Steelers. Don't be biased. So not saying the Ravens Steelers best.
I don't even think I would say that because the Steelers have been such dog piss. Honestly, Z, I think looking at this entire bracket, the most interesting / exciting matchup, in my opinion, really might be Washington and Tampa Bay. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Reason why I say that is just because you have Washington, who's in there for the first time in I know they made it in 20, but really like the first time where they actually were viewed as a team that
they were 7-9. They were 7-9.
Yeah, well, it was a joke. It was a joke. That's what I mean.
Taylor Heineke starting a quarterback is just that was ridiculous.
Yeah. So first time where they're in the playoffs where they actually are viewed as credible.
Right.
Jane Daniels going to win Rookie of the Year. And then going against Tampa Bay, because Washington's been a super fun team to watch. I mean, they're able to score 30 plus almost every week. You go to Tampa Bay, who they found themselves with some injuries in the second half of the season, but Baker's had a great season. They have respectable defense. I think they might be a little better than they were last year. I think both teams honestly can kind of even each other out a little bit, and I think that this could actually be a really interesting, tight type of ball game here. So I think that's kind of why I lean toward Washington and Tampa.
Yeah.
Really looking at the rest, like, yeah, I don't know. Green Bay and Philly, I'm not buying it, Z. I'm not buying that.
No, least favorite team in the league. Least favorite team in the
league. Well, Z, I think, made that declaration last night on Madden.
Yeah, just frustrating experience. Jordan Love, overrated. Worst receiving core in the NFL. And again, I'm basing this on Madden, guys. But I did say last night we were playing that I do believe Jordan Love has been trending towards being a glass jar, and I don't hope that, because he has a 5-year extension, and I respect a guy that sits behind a quarterback for 1 or 2 years or however many years he sat for. But he's dead. I mean, he's dead. It's a fact. I mean, he's been glass this year.
Yeah.
However, I do agree with you that I think the Commanders and Bucks is the best playoff matchup of the week. It has to be. It has to.
Yeah.
But what I do hope, I think an honorable mention could be Denver versus Buffalo.
Denver might be able to give them a little bit of a push. I don't think anybody's having expectations in the way of having Denver win. But Denver had a season that definitely over exceeded expectations, and winning 10 games with a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, was very impressive. Denver has one of the better defenses in the NFL. So they might be able to give a little bit of cushion there in that game. Nobody's expecting them to win that. But if they can keep it a little close throughout at least the first half, it might have somewhat intrigue. But I'm not expecting much from that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say that's an honorable mention. Obviously, the game I'm going to be paying attention the most to. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, we're fans of the team. So is obviously the Ravens Steelers. First of all, I have to address it.
Yeah.
Have to address it. The fact that I have to watch the Ravens Steelers on Twitch. Roger, that's a joke. Roger, it's just a joke. I think En's gonna lend me his. Now, I don't care what anybody says. If anybody comments on this, no, I don't have Amazon Prime. Sorry, cry about it. But I didn't realize that's a negative of not having subscriptions in life. However, the fact that I have to watch an NFL playoff and my second Ravens game of the year that I have to watch on a streaming service, what are we doing?
Yeah, well,
actually, technically third, because the Ravens played Cincinnati on Thursday night, and I had to watch it on Twitch.
Yep.
And then they freaking played the Texans on Netflix, and now Amazon Prime again. Yep. It's a joke.
Yep.
Anyways, getting past that. Ravens Steelers part 3 of this season.
Which has not happened in 10 years.
Yeah, 2014. I mean, I think the Ravens Steelers have 4 all-time playoff matchups. The Steelers lead it 3-1. The last playoff matchup they had, the Ravens won by I think 14. And it was in Pittsburgh in the wild card round. But coming to this game in, like I said, we weren't really going to talk about it too much, but if you give an expectation on this game, because some headlines going into it, Zay Flowers is most likely out, but that's not confirmed by any means. I think if he does play, like, what is his role going to be? But then you have the narrative of not only like Lamar struggling against the Steelers. I think that went away when they beat them a couple weeks ago, but just the narrative of Lamar in the playoffs. Nate and I had this conversation the other day, and Nate, I'll let you complete what I'm trying to say. Major disappointment with the Steelers, as it is pretty much every single end of the year. But the Ravens have more at stake this game. So I feel like the Steelers can play a bit more free than how the Ravens can. And I pretty much all I said was, as long as the Ravens look past the fact that they're playing their biggest rival, a team that they've struggled against the last 4 or 5 seasons, They should be okay. But I do believe it's going to be a dog fight, even though the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put this up real quick. 1 second.
Oh yeah, I think you found the tweet.
I'm not sure if this is the one you're referring to, but this is one that stuck out to me, and I've seen this before, but it has stuck out to me.
What is this? I can't even read that. Only 7 NFL teams have 0 playoff wins since 2016. Of these teams, Steelers 0 head coaching changes. Was I say Panthers?
Yeah, Panthers 4, Dolphins 3. We have the Bears 3, Commanders 4, Cardinals 4, and Raiders 4.
So are you trying to say this? Are you trying to say that they should consider a head coaching change?
I'm not 100% saying that, but I'm just saying it's telling. The fact that they haven't won a playoff game in that amount of years, it definitely makes you question how there hasn't really been much change at the helm. They've gone through a couple different coordinators, but obviously those haven't hit. But I can go on and on about that. With the Steelers and Ravens, a lot of people can look at that as maybe the most interesting one, just given the fact of that rivalry. But also, I feel like a lot of people just don't think the Steelers have much of a chance, just because of how they've been playing and how they've lost these last 4 games, especially against higher end opponents, and that they've shown that they can't hang with them, that they're not in that field, and they're not really getting much chance. Honestly, rightfully so. To me, this team is dead. This team doesn't have any level of heart. And to me, watching them last Sunday, you would have thought that they had nothing to play for and that their season was over. Yeah. So, and it's crazy to think about it. If you guys want the whole spiel, you guys can go to my channel. In hindsight, I did a whole 40-minute live about it.
Right over there.
Yep. But so I'm not going to go into everything that's already been talked about. But when you're 10-3,
shout out George if you're watching this. Shout out George. And Jared Devil and Steelers fan 354. Yeah. Pretty sure you said that's Daniel's wife.
There's a Steeler fan, there's a Steeler girl. I can't remember. I think it's Steeler fan. But being 10-3 and playing some good football, and honestly playing some of the better football that they've had in quite a while, looking like a possible higher end AFC team and leading their division by 2 games, and then they finished 10-7 with the same record as last year. I just don't know how anybody can have any confidence that they can just pull themselves out of the water in 1 week. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I don't understand how this team got to where they were outside of, sure, they played the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, but win one of those games. If you want to show that you're a little different than where you've been at, that you're trying to at least make a play in the playoffs, at least win one of those games. And then the showing you put out on Sunday, I don't know what to tell you. The offense is dead. The defense is dead, though they weren't too bad Sunday, but still they've underwhelmed in my opinion this season. The regression of Russell Wilson, it's to me, I don't know how anybody can take away any positives outside. The only positive you can take away going the Steelers and Ravens game is that it's a rivalry game, and the familiarity and the possibility of the way the Steelers play the Ravens, of them maybe trying to pull an upset in a close game. That's the only thing going for it. Now, there's also supposed to be around 5 inches of snow for that game. Now, it's probably not going to affect too much on the field, because the NFL, whenever they want to hype up these snow games and everything like that, they freaking clear the field off. They warm up the field, they clear it off. So it's not even a freaking snow game.
Yeah.
But the weather's going to be cold.
I can't remember last time Baltimore had a snow game. I think it was 2012 against Minnesota.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, where like freaking like 5 touchdowns in the last like 2 minutes of the game. Probably one of those. I don't know if I'll ever forget that. I can remember everything. Jacoby Jones, kick return, Marlon Brown, touchdown. I can't remember who scored for the Vikings, but I know Dennis Pitta had a touchdown. But then the Vikings had 2 touchdowns. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so if it would be like some type of snow game, that would be interesting just because you never see that out there. But that's the only positive I think going in Stewart's direction. I just don't see how this team has any life or confidence at all. It seems like that there's just issues in the locker room. So not going to go over and break down the whole Steelers situation. Like I said, you can go on my channel. But in terms of just talking about this game, there's a reason the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites. They beat the Steelers pretty handedly last time. Steelers had a couple bad turnovers that game that swung that game, and the Ravens put the pedal to the metal. So I don't expect the Steelers to win that game, and I'm going Ravens -21. So there you go.
Well, if anybody wants an opinion from me with the Ravens, I'm not going to say anything. We all know the narrative with Lamar and the Ravens that comes to the postseason. I'm going to avoid talking about it, and I'm a superstitious fan, so I'm not going to throw any jinx out there. I'm locked in. Just put me on the field. I'm ready to roll. Okay. Transitioning to what I think is the best story coming into the playoffs, regardless of their first round exit in. Very similar to the Commanders, but I think it's got to be Denver. It's got to be Denver. I think Denver and Washington were in a similar position of like how they were predicted to be this season. So it's kind of hard to say like who is who, but and both highly drafted first round quarterbacks. But shout out, I'm happy for the Broncos. I don't think they're going to beat Buffalo. I don't think it'll really even be that close of a game, to be honest. But just for the fact of their future, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver. I'm going to say this. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a division title within the next couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised.
Which honestly would be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kansas City's won it, like 8 years in a row?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's been zero competition in that division. The Raiders, absolute disaster. Denver hasn't been in the playoffs since their Super Bowl. And you look at the Chargers with Brandon Staley. I think they were there once.
Yeah. Well, outside of Denver,
but it might be changing now because now with Jim Harbaugh running that show, and then you look at the progression of Bo Nix as a rookie, and what Denver's going to try to probably add on after this season, it might be more competitive now.
I know you guys want predictions, so we'll give 3 predictions here, not predictions. And start off with your underdog and most overrated team. Not each conference, just one and one. Yep. Throw some snow in your face.
Yeah, please. Underdog in the wild card round. The team I view as the biggest underdog in the wild card round. We can say Denver, but since we just talked about them, I'm not going to state them. I'm going to go a little bit different here, and I'm going to say the LA Rams.
I do agree. I was going to say them too.
Yeah. LA Rams, they won 10 games. They struggled a little bit throughout their season with a couple games under 500 and some injuries with Kupp and Puka Nacua. But again, the Rams kind of did their thing a little similar to what they did last year. They won their last handful of games toward the end of the season. They got a little healthier. They got a little bit of help as well with Seattle dropping a game or two. So they got in. But I think that they're at home, so that helps. But they're facing a Vikings team that's won 14 games. And Minnesota's been a top 3 team in the NFL, in my opinion, really for most of the season. They have a dynamic offense. They have a very underrated defense that leads the league in takeaways. And sometimes if you can get Stafford a little bit in a pickle or some pressure there, he has been prone to throw some key interceptions. So if Minnesota is able to get some pressure there, that they've had a secondary that's been balling out with Gilmore, Murphy, and Smith, and Bynum and those guys. So that could be the case. But with the way the Vikings offense has been rolling outside the Sunday night game, but the way the Vikings offense is rolling, the Rams defense doesn't move me that much where they're going to be able to really stop some of that passing game with Jefferson and Addison and TJ. So to me, they're the biggest underdog just in the face of not only facing a 14-win team, but you're facing one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL this season. And you're facing a defense that leads the league in takeaways and makes splash plays almost every other week. So the Rams, I think they're one and done again this season. Honestly, I don't have a lot of faith at this point in Matthew Stafford being able to rally the troops and outscore Minnesota. But their backs up against the wall, and looking at the landscape of the wild card round, I'm going to say that they're the biggest underdog because they do. Like, the Rams have won a Super Bowl, and they do have some offensive pedigree there with Kyron, but Cooper Kupp's been mildly disappointing the last 2 months. Puka Nacua is a beast. So there is some opportunity there to score some points. But they're an underdog just in the way of with, even though they've won 10 games, they're really not this team that really matches up too well against the Vikings. So their back's really against the wall at home.
Oh, it'd be one of the most remarkable stories of them if they went on a run, because you probably get the most difficult.
Vikings?
No, the Rams. You probably get the most difficult first round matchup you could possibly ask for against a team with 14 wins.
Yeah.
And then obviously if they beat them, then they'd have to probably go play the Eagles, or even the Lions.
Yeah. Just to put out shakes out.
Yeah. So, but I just think with how experienced they are now and how good their offense really is, I think they could be kind of a sleeper. But moving into who I think the most, well, I'll let you go first, but the most overrated team in the playoffs.
Most overrated team in the playoffs.
I know my answer.
Z knows his answer, so he'll say his. Let's think here. Most overrated team in the playoffs. Well, we look at Philly, and I like them a lot.
I'm gonna pull it up right now while you're thinking.
They're really balanced, yeah. So I'm not gonna say Philly at all. I'm not gonna say Washington. I'm not gonna say Tampa Bay. The Texans, okay. I'm not gonna say the Texans because they have shown that that they're gonna play some really freaking bad football. Now this Texans team going the season, Diggs, CJ, Nico, yeah. So squeaked out 10 wins in a bad division. That's Z's most overrated team. He can dive deep in the Texans. Honestly, Z, I'm gonna say Green Bay.
Yeah, but also, like, you're talking about a 7 seed, right?
Yeah, but they won 11 games. Probably 12 if Jordan Love played.
Right.
So just because they're a 7 seed, that means nothing to me. They're technically, in my opinion, they would have been a 12-win team if their starters played. And to me, with Green Bay, and Christian Watson tore his ACL, by the way, their defense isn't bad at all. But when I look at Green Bay, there's just been some performances.
13-time world champs.
Yeah, 13 times since 1919 when there were three teams.
Who cares?
Yeah,
this is my least favorite team in the NFL. The fan base, the way it's ran.
Yeah,
least favorite team in the NFL.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna lean Green Bay just because there's been some bad showing, some bad performances. I don't have much faith in their wide receivers. Their wide receivers haven't moved me at all since maybe the first month of the season with Jaden Reed popping off a little bit. I like Jordan Love. I think that there's a lot of good things there, but it seems like that he might not even be 100% either. And honestly, Z, Matt LaFleur, it's just gonna be a ref show. He's just gonna be in that ear all game. But I'm gonna lean Green Bay out of this. You could go the Texans, but I'm gonna lean Green Bay just because they did win 12 games. They were in that division. They were definitely the third best team in that division. Going to the playoffs, to be honest with you, I don't really see them standing a chance against Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you on. This is perfect. This is perfect. And if you guys don't know what we mean, just go back to the days of, when Aaron Rodgers was on the Packers. My God, I got so frustrated. Matt LaFleur begging to the refs, complaining to the refs. Give me this. Look at this. Look at this. And you're gonna be like, oh, well, every head coach does that. No. It's different.
Why does he kind of look like Mitch?
Start calling Mitch Matt. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I agree with your take on Green Bay. I'm not really gonna go too much into Houston. But the only reason why I'm just picking them is because they did win the division. I know the AFC South is the worst division in football, but this team was a Super Bowl favorite.
3:30.
I feel like what?
3:30.
Yeah, I know. 3:30 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just awful. They're just awful.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's 4:30 our time, but like 3:30. Imagine waking up. Yeah, game's 3:30.
Yeah. I mean, I like CJ Stroud. You know, he's had a difficult season, and you know they've had injuries with Diggs going down and Collins being out a lot of the year. But this team is just not it, and I think this year just did not go as they planned.
No.
So
going into season Z, they were viewed as this juggernaut.
Absolutely, they were. Yeah, and I think they're going to be a first round exit against a team that just looks better than them right now. And just move on next year. I mean, just hit the reset button and move on next year. It's not a rebuild; it's a retool for them. So
yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like they're in a good spot. That they are. They got their quarterback, who I believe can really be a more higher end guy in the league. Joe Mixon had a good season. Nico Collins is one of the better receivers in the league. He's come along in that category. Diggs, I think, is gone. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they're pretty much they just got to make a few changes. Yeah. That's the last thing we need is him and George Pickens together. Might as well add Tyreek Hill there too.
Oh God, talk about misery. They put AB as the wide receiver coach. All right, well let's go ahead and end this video with we're just gonna throw it out there. Just I want you to not break it down. I want you just to give me your Super Bowl prediction.
All right. I actually thought about this yesterday. So there's some seasons where we see some certain runs from some wild card teams, or we're able to see some teams that weren't a 1 or 2 seed in Championship Sunday, for example. I'm not really feeling that this year. I think that the higher seeds are going to represent, and my Super Bowl prediction is going to be Buffalo and Detroit. And I'm picking Detroit to shock the world. Well, maybe not shock the world necessarily, but finally end this depraved drought of misery. And it's going to be a great story. And I think that's what the NFL needs. I think the NFL needs a great story like that. Not Kansas City, not Kyle Shanahan, not Mitch, Mitch LaFleur. No. The NFL needs a good story.
If you know.
And Buffalo could be a good story too, just because they're 0-4 in Super Bowls, and them kind of falling short these handful of years to Kansas City. But I think the NFL needs a good story, and I think Detroit gets it done.
Okay.
And there's nothing but Jared Goff chance. This is what Z's done the last 5 years.
I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again.
Yep.
Doing it again live on air, but put it on the YouTube channel, and I don't care.
This is going to be saved. This is going to be bookmarked.
That's fine. That's fine. You can save it all you want. It's going to happen eventually. I'm going to say it's going to be, and I had this conversation yesterday of what would be considered success. I said essentially making the championship. Didn't say win it. But this Super Bowl this year end is going to be the Battle of the Birds. We're going to see an Eagles versus Ravens Super Bowl in February in New Orleans. I want you and you can send this to the group chat. You can send this, on Twitter. Don't care. I'm going to speak into existence. Don't want to see the Chiefs. But I do think this in all seriousness. If the Ravens beat the Steelers on the first round, I think whoever they would probably face the Buffalo. So whoever would win out of those two will go on to beat Kansas City and then make the Super Bowl. I'm going to go Battle of the Birds. I'm going to say Ravens versus Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm going to give Eagles the edge just because they kind of smacked the Ravens earlier in the season. So my prediction is that Ravens, Eagles, I'm going to give the Eagles a Super Bowl win in the first year of Saquon. So, period.
All right. Well, there's Z's prediction. He's predicted this the last 5 seasons.
I definitely haven't.
Yep.
Definitely haven't.
And I'll never forget 2019, where the Ravens were the best team in the NFL, and they were upset in the first round by Tennessee. And all I heard was ring, title, Harbaugh, Lamar, and embarrassed.
EDC.
EDC. And embarrassed.
I'm throwing it out there. It's a risky thing to do, but sometimes then you got to take risks in life, and that's what life is all about. Life is a beautiful thing, and just remember you're loved. So.
Yeah. Well, there's Z's prediction. I have mine. I think more people would rather see mine happen, to be honest, than Z's prediction to happen. But at the end of the day, probably both our predictions are gonna be wrong.
Absolutely will be. Yeah,
we're probably just gonna another Chiefs Eagles one.
yawn.
Just yawn. Just absolutely yawn. Absolutely yawn. But yeah, other than that, I think that was a pretty good kind of little run through the playoffs, a little segment there on the Steelers and Ravens, going over a little overrated, underrated, where Colin was right, and then going to our predictions. So
yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed. We hope you guys enjoyed our first video of 2025, and now we're gonna transition to making a new video, and we'll get that one later on next week.
On the other side,
and we'll see you then.